It's a road course runaway. Shane Van Gisbergen dominates and wins Sonoma.
You are unbelievable, man.
Shane Van Gisbergen is 36 years old. He's a rookie, and he just won 5 NASCAR races in one season. He didn't just join NASCAR in 2025, he changed it forever. Let's go back to where this all started. In 2023, NASCAR held its first ever street race in Chicago. Shane Van Gisbergen showed up for his very first Cup Series race. Nobody expected what happened next. He won, just like that, on his debut. The last time someone won their first NASCAR race was back in 1963. That's 60 years ago. NASCAR fans couldn't believe it. This guy from New Zealand, who nobody really knew, just beat all the best drivers in America. After that win, Shane packed his bags and moved to the United States. He signed with Trackhouse Racing to learn NASCAR from the ground up. Fast forward to 2025. Shane Van Gisbergen is now driving the number 88 Chevrolet full-time in the Cup Series. That's the same number Dale Earnhardt Jr. used to drive. Pretty big deal. Team owner Justin Marks knew he had something special. He said Shane checks a lot of boxes for building a great business in the sport. He called him incredibly talented and incredibly dedicated, a superstar. But here's the thing. Shane wasn't some young 20-year-old rookie. He was 36 years old. That makes him the oldest Rookie of the Year winner since 2011. And you know what Shane said about his age? Yeah, but I don't feel old. I don't know, it's just a number. Before NASCAR, Shane was already a champion. He won the Supercars championship in Australia 3 times. He had 80 wins in that series. 80! The guy knew how to win races. But Supercars and NASCAR are totally different. In Supercars, Shane raced on road courses, twisty tracks with lots of turns. In NASCAR, most races happen on ovals, just turning left at crazy high speeds. Shane had never really done that before. The 2025 season started rough for Shane, really rough. He was finishing 35th or 36th almost every race. That's near the back of the pack. The oval tracks were completely new to him. Everything felt different. The car handled different. The racing was different. He was learning from scratch. Shane talked about those early struggles. He said, although it was a struggle, it was a good struggle to go through. He felt like they grounded out and got better as a team together. His crew chief, Stephen Doran, was new too. It was only Stephen's second year as a crew chief in Cup Series. Shane admitted he was the problem at that stage. It was all new to him. They built up together. But then Shane hit the road courses, and that's when everything changed. NASCAR has 6 road course races during the season. Shane won 5 of them, 5 out of 6. Nobody saw that coming. Each win was dominant. At the Charlotte Roval in October, he won by over 15 seconds. 15 seconds in NASCAR is massive. At Mexico City in June, he beat second place by more than 16 seconds. The Mexico City race was wild. Shane was sick that day, really sick. After the race, he joked about it, saying he felt pretty rubbish leaking out both holes. Not fun, but he still won. And get this. The very next day, Shane drove to Charlotte Motor Speedway and raced a legend car in a local race. The guy just loves racing. Fans were amazed. One fan said, "Bro just loves racing, my GOAT." Those 5 wins did something huge. They made Shane a playoff driver in his rookie season. They also locked up the Rookie of the Year award. His only competition was Riley Herbst, who finished 35th in the final standings. Shane basically won that award by May. But the road course wins were only half the story. Shane needed to get better on ovals. That's where most NASCAR races happen. And slowly, very slowly, he did. In September at Kansas Speedway, Shane finished 10th. His first oval top 10 finish. The crowd went wild. Shane was excited too. He said his average oval running position went from 85th at the start of the year to somewhere between 10th and 20th. Then he finished 11th at Talladega, then 14th at Martinsville. The improvement was real. Shane explained what made ovals so hard. At tracks like Vegas, you're going super fast. When you slow down going into the corner, the car doesn't feel good. You have to go in flat, land in the banking, and then see what the car does. It's pretty eye-opening to tell yourself to just tighten the belts, grow some balls, and drive in flat. He said it's tough stuff, and it took him a while to get used to it. By the end of the season, Shane was qualifying better too. At Las Vegas in October, he started 13th. He beat both his Trackhouse teammates. He was only 0.08 of a second faster than Ross Chastain. That's basically nothing, but it showed how far he'd come. Ross Chastain is one of Shane's teammates. He's been with Trackhouse since 2022. Ross thinks Shane will eventually win on an oval. He said there's a chance. The 88 team is finding their stride. Ross could see rugby balls flying over the grandstands at an oval track one day. That's Shane's victory celebration. He throws rugby balls to the fans. By season's end, Shane had 50 Cup Series starts total, 6 career wins. 5 of those wins came in 2025 alone. He made the playoffs, he won Rookie of the Year, and he finished 12th in the championship standings. Not bad for a guy who'd never raced on most of these tracks before. But here's what makes Shane's story even bigger. He brought a whole new audience to NASCAR. Fans from New Zealand and Australia started watching every single race. Shane said the support he got coming over to America has been great. When New Zealanders or Aussies go overseas, the support they get is amazing. Every track he went to, there were always some Kiwis or Aussies there to support him. He said it's really special. NASCAR noticed this. They made a deal to broadcast all the races for free in New Zealand on a streaming service called 3Now. Shane was pumped. He said, "Awesome to hear the news that NASCAR will be shown on TV in New Zealand this year. It'll be early Sunday and Monday mornings for the Kiwi fans, but hopefully he can do his best to make it worth it." The broadcast worked. Thousands of new fans started watching from halfway around the world. NASCAR suddenly had a global audience in places they never had before. This wasn't just about one driver. This was about growing the sport worldwide. At Las Vegas, Shane drove a special car. It was covered in New Zealand symbols, the silver fern, the Southern Cross stars, red stars from his country's flag. When Shane first saw the car, he said he was pretty speechless.
So we have our friends at Jockey back on the car, and amazingly they let me have some influence on the design. So of course I went New Zealand theme. Amazing to have the silver fern on it, some pictures of New Zealand in the map, and pretty cool looking race car. Obviously I'm a little biased, got the red stars of my country, and yeah, I think it looks pretty tough.
His sponsor Jockey let him design it. Of course he went New Zealand themed. He was stoked to represent New Zealand as much as he could.
Pretty tough. Pretty stoked to represent New Zealand as much as I can, and thanks to Jockey for letting me do that. I'm pretty speechless when I first saw this car. You can also get the same underwear I wear from farmers in New Zealand.
Shane's success even inspired other drivers. Jesse Love, who just won the Xfinity Series championship, is going to race supercars in Australia because of Shane. Jesse said he didn't even know about supercars until Shane came to NASCAR. They became good friends. Jesse calls what Shane does magic. He wants to learn that magic. Other NASCAR teams are now looking at international drivers. For years, teams only looked at American drivers. But Shane proved international drivers can win, and win a lot. Team owner Justin Marks said they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't think Shane could win lots of Cup races and be a playoff contender. Shane signed a long-term contract with Trackhouse earlier this year. He's not going anywhere, and he's not done improving. Shane said there are a lot of things he needs to get better at. He wants to keep improving and keep learning. He tries to be better at everything. Every single week, he learns something new.
Shane van Gisbergen answered all the questions and said, "I'm not necessarily going to be granted a win in this race, but he's got the win. SVG wins the Roval."
Shane van Gisbergen, a name that once ruled the V8 supercars, is now making waves in NASCAR, and no one saw it coming. Just a few years ago, NASCAR wasn't even on his radar, but now he's capturing the attention of American fans and making history in his debut. How did this unexpected crossover happen? SVG, known for his dominance in the EV8 supercars, had no plans of joining NASCAR until Justin Marks, co-owner of Trackhouse Racing, reached out with an offer that changed everything. What started as a distant possibility quickly turned into one of the biggest surprises in NASCAR, as Van Gisbergen stormed the Cup Series in 2023 and became an instant fan favorite. SVG admits that before 2022, NASCAR had not really been a focus of his. He said, "I followed NASCAR a bit when Aussie Cup driver Marcos Ambrose was racing, but when he stopped, I didn't really pay much attention again until Trackhouse co-owner Justin Marks launched Project 91 in 2022 with the goal of letting the world's best driver have a go in NASCAR. It wasn't until Marks launched his ambitious Project 91 initiative that SVG started to pay attention to the series. realizing it was a potential opportunity to make a name for himself in another discipline of racing. For SVG, NASCAR was something of a curiosity at best, something that wasn't part of his primary focus. Even the interest that Roger Penske had shown in supercars, which could have piqued his attention, hadn't been enough to spark a deep interest in NASCAR. That all changed when Marks and Trackhouse Racing opened the door for international drivers to step into the NASCAR world. Project 91 had already made waves with its debut in 2022, when the program gave Formula One world champion Kimi Räikkönen the opportunity to race in NASCAR SVG. While impressed by the concept, never saw himself as a likely candidate. However, things took a turn when he decided to put feelers out through a connection. Former NASCAR Cup driver Boris Said, who had a relationship with Justin Marks, helped kick off a conversation that would lead to SVG's incredible NASCAR debut. I put out feelers through former NASCAR Cup driver Boris Said, SVG recalled. Boris knew Justin and sort of started the conversation. To my great surprise and joy, Justin reached out and told me, "There's a new race happening in 2023 on a street track that I think you'd be perfect for. Give me a few months to find some sponsors and partners." That was an awesome conversation, just because I didn't go into it thinking something would come of it. For SVG, it was the first moment where NASCAR felt like a real possibility, but he was still uncertain. However, as time passed, the conversation with Marks started to take shape. Just a few months later, Marks called back to confirm the news. "Yeah, this is going to happen." The opportunity was real, and with the timing working out perfectly, SVG was now poised to take his first steps in NASCAR. At the time, the timing of the Chicago street race fit perfectly within SVG's Supercar's calendar, meaning he wouldn't have to miss any of his commitments down under. The fact that the race would take place on a street circuit also made it even more appealing, as it was an environment that he was somewhat familiar with, having raced in other international events. But even with this new opportunity, it was still a big leap. Though SVG had dabbled in American racing before, including appearances in IMSA and the Rolex 24 at Daytona, NASCAR presented a unique challenge. He was stepping into a new kind of racing, with a very different set of rules, cars, and tracks. His first experience in NASCAR was about to be a complete game changer.
Shane van Gisbergen has been perfect. He has navigated the streets of Chicago to perfection. The final time, onto the front stretch. He comes to the checkered flag. He's won the very first street race in NASCAR.
SVG made history during his debut weekend at the Chicago race in 2023, outdueling seasoned NASCAR veterans to claim an unlikely victory. It was a stunning result considering his limited experience with NASCAR compared to the Cup Series regulars. His victory sent shockwaves through the racing world. For SVG, it was the moment that confirmed that his decision to try NASCAR was one of the best choices he could have made. But how did this all fit into SVG's larger career story? For those who don't know, Van Gisbergen had previously harbored dreams of making it to Formula One. He was well aware of the odds against him, though, and as he admitted, "I was halfway decent at open-wheel racing. But I've always been a pretty big guy, and most open-wheel drivers look like they should be 14 years old." Open-wheel racing, particularly Formula One, is known for its extremely demanding fitness requirements and weight restrictions. SVG's physical build, which worked to his advantage in touring cars, wasn't suited for the lightweight, nimble cars of Formula One. His experiences in the Toyota series made it clear that his weight was more of a hindrance than an asset in open-wheel racing. "I knew the odds were slim," SVG said. "My weight was my enemy. It robbed me of speed." With this realization, he pivoted from open-wheel racing to a more fitting discipline, touring cars. It was in this category that he found success, eventually becoming a dominant force in Australia's Supercars championship. It was here that his talents truly shone, and his legacy in supercars was solidified. Yet just as he was on top of his game in supercars, an entirely new opportunity appeared on the horizon. And it wasn't just about another form of touring car racing, it was NASCAR, a series that few drivers from SVG's world of V8 supercars had dared to step into. For SVG, his transition into NASCAR has not been easy. It's not just about hopping into a car and going fast, it's about mastering new tracks and adapting to a new style of racing NASCAR ovals, the distinct and unique style of American racing, were unlike anything SVG had ever encountered in his career. But SVG's natural ability to adapt, honed over years in supercars, allowed him to quickly start finding his feet in this new discipline.
Yeah, what an awesome day. Good to get our first top 10 here at Kansas. Thank you to Red Bull for coming on with us. Crazy day, going a lap down with the penalty at the start, and then, just worked our way forward, and I got sort of more confident. It's still taking me time with these mile and a halves. And
now, with his focus on mastering ovals, having already secured 4 pole positions on road courses and finishing top 10 at Kansas in 2025, despite starting from the rear of the field, SVG continued his impressive rookie run. SVG is no stranger to hard work, and his performance on ovals proved that he was not just a street racing specialist, but a versatile driver capable of competing on the most challenging tracks NASCAR has to offer. At this point, SVG's transition into NASCAR has evolved into one of the most captivating stories in recent motorsport history. A Kiwi driver crossing oceans and disciplines, adapting to a completely different kind of racing, and finding success on the other side. His journey from V8 supercars to NASCAR has captured the imagination of fans across the world, and his continued growth in the series promises more exciting chapters ahead. For the drivers, teams, and fans involved, SVG's story is a reminder that motorsport is always changing, evolving, and offering new opportunities for talent from around the world. What began as an unlikely crossover has turned into one of the most unexpected and thrilling success stories in NASCAR's modern era. And as for SVG, this chapter of his career is only just getting started. With his sights set on mastering ovals and continuing to improve, the future looks incredibly bright. Who knows? Perhaps in the coming years, we'll see him fighting for race wins and even championships in NASCAR as he continues to build his legacy in yet another motorsport series. Shane Van Gisbergen's shocking decision to step into NASCAR may have seemed improbable at first, but his success in just a few short years proves that he's not only capable of making history in one series, he's ready to make waves in another. And with his unique combination of skill, adaptability, and ambition, SVG is poised to become a permanent fixture in the NASCAR Cup Series, continuing to challenge the norms and defy expectations.
Incredible day, incredible scenes. And the 33-year-old from Elk Grove, California, Kyle Larson, comes to the line and is a two-time champion.
Kyle Larson just turned Denny Hamlin's perfect day into another heartbreak. For 319 laps, Hamlin controlled the race, leading 208 of them and sitting just 40 seconds from his first Cup title. Then, a late caution flipped everything. Larson took a risk, Hamlin played it safe, and history repeated itself in the most brutal way. Let's rewind. The 2025 Championship 4 showdown at Phoenix was set to be one for the ages. Hamlin, Larson, Byron, and Briscoe all came in with everything to gain. But for Hamlin, the stakes were different. At 44, he wasn't just racing for a trophy. He was racing to rewrite history, to shed the label of greatest driver to never win a title. And through 300 laps, he was doing just that. Hamlin was dominant from the drop, starting from the pole and running like a man possessed. His Toyota was untouchable in clean air, building a nearly 3-second lead with just a few laps to go. Victory and redemption were seconds away. But racing, like life, doesn't care about your plans.
Oh boy, William Byron. William Byron has a tire issue and the caution is out. He was the only one of the Championship 4 who didn't have a tire issue, Kim, and now it's struck.
That's when William Byron's tire exploded, sending him into the wall and bringing out a late caution that sent the championship finale into overtime. In a split-second decision, teams headed down pit road for the final call of the season. Hamlin's team chose 4 tires. Larson's team? Just 2. That single call would change everything. On the restart, Larson had track position. Hamlin had grip, but not the time. In a 2-lap shootout, Larson powered through to 3rd, highest among the Championship 4. Hamlin only made it back to 6th. Ryan Blaney won the race, but Larson walked away with the title. It was cruel. It was dramatic. It was NASCAR.
Denny Hamlin on the right was so close.
Post-race, Hamlin sat motionless in his car, a towel draped over his head, daughters crying nearby.